Morning comes slowly to the hills of Carpathian Ruthenia. Mist clings to the trees, thick and damp, smelling of wet earth and wood smoke. The village is small enough that every sound carries. Boots on mud, a door creaking open, a cartwheel groaning under weight. In a narrow house with a low roof, a boy wakes before the sun. His name for now is Jan Ludwig Hyman Benjamin Hoch. He sleeps with his brothers nearby, bodies packed close for warmth. Winters here bite hard, and cold finds its way through every crack. His mother is already awake, whispering prayers under her breath, the soft rhythm of Hebrew words mixing with the hiss of the fire. His father's coat hangs by the door, patched and worn thin. Poverty isn't discussed in this house. It's simply present like the cold. The boy learns early to listen, to watch faces, to know when to stay quiet. Outside, borders shift faster than the seasons. Empires collapse. Flags change. One year they are Austro-Hungarian, then Czechoslovak, then something else again. What doesn't change is that they are Jews. Orthodox, Yiddish-speaking, and visible. That visibility carries weight. It presses on the family like the low ceiling of the house. When the Nazis come, they come with lists. The boy is still young, but fear has already settled into his bones. He understands, without being told, that survival depends on movement, on slipping away before doors close. One day he leaves, France first. He travels light, carrying little more than hunger and nerve. Years later, almost everyone he leaves behind will be deported east, to Auschwitz. They will not return. In Marseille, the air smells of salt and diesel. The port is loud with shouting men, clanging metal, the slap of ropes against hulls. Here, the boy becomes a soldier. He joins the Czechoslovak army in exile, though exile itself is now his natural state. Names are flexible. Identity is practical. When France falls, he refuses to fall with it. He ends up in Britain, wearing a different uniform, speaking broken English, serving in the British Army. War strips everything down to essentials: noise, mud, fear, adrenaline. He crosses Europe with a rifle in his hands, from the beaches of Normandy to the wreckage of Berlin. Bullets crack overhead. Artillery shakes the ground. He learns that chaos rewards confidence. In January 1945, under fire, he storms a German machine gun nest. The moment is brief, violent, decisive. Later, they pin a medal to his chest, the military cross. Field Marshal Montgomery himself presents it. Cameras flash. For a second, history looks him in the eye and nods. After the war, Berlin smells of dust and ash. Buildings stand open like broken teeth. Power is no longer abstract. It has rooms, corridors, accents. It has men who decide what is printed and what is buried. In 1946, he becomes British. 2 years later, he changes his name. Ian Robert Maxwell. The name sounds solid, English, respectable. It carries no villages, no borders, no ghosts. He marries a French woman, Betty, and begins building something that looks like permanence. A family, children, a future that seems anchored rather than improvised. But inside him, the boy from the misty hills is still awake. The one who learned that nothing is guaranteed, that survival belongs to those who move first, speak loudest, take control. Maxwell has escaped death, poverty and history itself. London, late 1940s. The city is still bruised. Bomb sites gape open between buildings, and soot stains the stone, like old smoke that refuses to leave. Printing presses rumble deep inside warehouses, their rhythms steady and mechanical, a sound that suggests order in a world still recovering from chaos. Robert Maxwell loves that sound. Paper has weight, ink has permanence. Words, once printed, travel farther than soldiers ever can. He moves through offices thick with cigarette smoke, his accent still catching on certain vowels. Maxwell doesn't wait to be invited to speak. He talks quickly, intensely, leaning forward, eyes fixed as if every conversation is a negotiation for survival. He understands something instinctively. Knowledge is power, and science is the currency of the new world. Using contacts from the Allied occupation, Maxwell becomes the British distributor for Springer Verlag, a German publisher desperate to rebuild its reach. Academic journals flow west: physics, chemistry, engineering. The language of the Cold War before it even has a name. In 1951, Maxwell buys a struggling offshoot of the business and renames it Pergamon Press. The name sounds ancient. Inside Pergamon's offices, the air smells of paper dust and stale coffee. Telephones ring constantly. Deadlines stack up. Maxwell works long hours prowling corridors, correcting proofs, pushing editors harder than they think is reasonable. He demands loyalty, speed, obedience. In return, he offers growth, money, scale. Pergamon expands at a dizzying pace. Journals multiply. Libraries around the world begin to rely on Maxwell's publications. He understands that universities will always pay, even when governments hesitate. Knowledge, once essential, becomes non-negotiable. At home, Betty raises their growing family. Children fill the house with noise and movement. Maxwell is affectionate, demanding, overwhelming. He wants a big family, a replacement for the one history erased. But even here, he is rarely still. His mind is always elsewhere, calculating the next step. Success changes his posture. His suits improve. His confidence hardens. When rivals question his methods, he dismisses them as small-minded. When editors resist, he crushes them with charm or fury, sometimes both. Those who stay are rewarded. By the 1960s, whispers follow him through the publishing world. Deals too clever, profits too smooth. Money moving in circles only Maxwell seems to understand. But the results are undeniable. Pergamon is powerful now. So is its owner. Power, Maxwell decides, needs legitimacy. In 1964, he stands for Parliament as a Labour candidate. Campaigning is performance. He wins a seat in Buckingham and enters the House of Commons, convinced he belongs there, convinced even that he deserves more. But Westminster is colder than he expects. Polite, hierarchical, resistant to outsiders. Maxwell bristles. He interrupts. He dominates. He makes enemies. Respect proves harder to acquire than companies. Then, in 1969, the ground shifts. An American conglomerate moves to acquire Pergamon. Investigations follow. Government inspectors examine Maxwell's methods and recoil. Their verdict is devastating. Maxwell, they conclude, cannot be trusted to run a public company. His control of Pergamon collapses almost overnight. For the first time since the war, Maxwell loses. He does not accept it. As he leaves the boardroom, papers boxed, reputation damaged, he is already planning his return. He has rebuilt himself before, from nothing, from exile, from ashes. He will do it again. In the House of Commons, Maxwell interrupts. He lectures. He talks as if every exchange is a transaction to be won. Other MPs smile thinly. They do not trust him. He senses it immediately, and the sensation needles him. He has crossed battlefields and rebuilt empires, and yet here status is withheld by men he considers smaller. Outside Parliament, his life grows more extravagant. Headington Hill Hall rises above Oxford like a declaration. From its grounds, Maxwell boards his helicopter, the blades chopping the air, scattering leaves and gravel. Students look up as he lifts away. Visibility matters. Power must be seen. At home, his children multiply. The house is full of voices, arguments, laughter, tension. Maxwell moves among them like a weather system. Generous one moment, volatile the next. He demands closeness, loyalty, admiration. Absence irritates him. Independence alarms him. When he loses his parliamentary seat in 1970, the rejection cuts deep. He had sought legitimacy. Instead, he receives confirmation that acceptance will never be freely given. He runs again and again. Each defeat hardens him. If politics won't crown him, business will. Maxwell throws himself back into publishing with renewed aggression. He reacquires Pergamon. He buys printing companies, restructures them, renames them. Employees feel his presence before they see him. The sudden silence when he enters a room, the sense that someone is being measured. He takes over Oxford United, saving the club from collapse and bending it to his will. Fans chant as he lands his helicopter beside the pitch, a stunt both theatrical and defiant. He's fat, he's round, he's never on the ground, they sing. Maxwell pretends not to hear, but he hears everything. He wants victory. He wants recognition. He wants proof that he belongs among England's elite. Journalists become enemies. Satirists mock him. Private Eye calls him Cap'n Bob. The nickname spreads. Maxwell fumes. Lawsuits follow. He sues not just to win, but to intimidate. To remind critics that power carries consequences. Inside his offices, loyalty is rewarded. Doubt is punished. He begins to suspect betrayal everywhere. Whispers in corridors, glances exchanged behind his back. He installs surveillance. Bugged phones, monitored conversations, control calms him. By the early 1980s, the man who once fled borders now builds walls around himself. He flies. He buys. He dominates meetings by force of presence alone. Yet beneath it all, something remains unresolved. Respect still feels conditional. Applause still fades too quickly. Maxwell tells himself he is climbing higher. He does not yet realise that the higher he climbs, the less room there is to stand. Night settles over Fleet Street like a lid. Rain slicks the pavement, reflecting neon headlines in broken pieces. Inside the mirror, the air is hot and stale. Telephones ring long after they should have gone silent. Somewhere deep in the building, printing presses thud and roll, a mechanical heartbeat that refuses to slow. Robert Maxwell is still awake. He moves through the newsroom late at night, jacket off, tie loosened, eyes sharp with fatigue and focus. Editors straighten when they see him. Conversations die mid-sentence. Maxwell asks questions rapidly, not waiting for full answers. He wants certainty, obedience, momentum. The newspapers are his now, and they must reflect strength, not doubt. Outside this building, he is everywhere. Helicopters lift from Oxford. Chauffeurs wait with engines running. His yacht, Lady Ghislaine, gleams white against dark water. A floating palace named after his youngest daughter. The sea air smells clean, metallic, unlike the dust and tension of his offices. At sea, he feels untouchable. But the numbers do not care about appearances. Loans stack up, interest compounds. Deals once held together by confidence alone begin to fray. Banks ask questions in calm voices that carry menace beneath the politeness. Maxwell responds with charm, fury and reassurance, sometimes all in the same call. He believes pressure can always be outrun. Inside his companies, money starts moving in strange directions. Pension funds become reservoirs to draw from, temporarily, he tells himself, just until the next deal closes, just until the share price stabilises. He has done this before, it will work again. At home, relationships strain. His children are grown now, working inside his empire, drawn into its gravity. Family dinners turn into meetings. Loyalty blurs into obligation. Maxwell expects them to understand. He cannot imagine stepping back. Sleep becomes rare. He paces hotel rooms in New York, offices in London, decks of his yacht before dawn. The sound of water against the hull soothes him, but only briefly. Even here, he makes calls, barking instructions into the dark. paranoia sharpens. He suspects betrayal everywhere. Journalists, executives, even allies. He orders offices bugged, conversations recorded. Knowledge is control. Control is survival. Publicly, the image holds. He buys Macmillan in the United States. He launches the European, dreaming of a continent-wide voice under his command. Headlines announce ambition. Applause follows. Privately, cracks widen. By 1991, the strain is visible even to those who fear him. His face looks heavier, his movements slower, his temper shorter. Meetings end abruptly. Promises are made too quickly. The empire hums, but the sound is no longer steady. It rattles. Maxwell tells himself he has come too far to stop now. Stopping, after all, has never been how he survived. The Atlantic before dawn feels suspended, as though time itself has slowed. The surface of the water rises and falls in long, deliberate swells, dark and metallic, catching faint traces of moonlight, before dissolving again into black. The Lady Ghislaine moves steadily through it, engines low, the hull creaking softly as it cuts south of the Canary Islands. Salt coats the railings. The air smells sharp, clean, unforgiving. Robert Maxwell is awake. It is shortly after 4 in the morning. The deck is cold beneath his bare feet, slick with spray. The sky above him is clouded, the moon blurred and distant, offering no clarity. For the first time in years, there are no telephones ringing, no aides waiting, no rooms full of people watching his every move. Only the sea, the wind, and the weight of thought. His body no longer obeys him the way it once did. Each breath feels heavier, drawn deeper from his chest. His heart stutters in a way he refuses to acknowledge. All his life, Maxwell has believed that force of will could overpower anything. Poverty, exile, war, even truth itself. Tonight the calculations do not stop. Loans, deadlines, banks losing patience. The meeting with the Bank of England he has avoided. The deals that no longer close when he demands they should. He grips the rail and leans forward. Below him, the sea moves endlessly, indifferent and vast. Whether his footing slips, his strength fails, or his heart finally gives out is something no one witnesses. There is no shout, no dramatic struggle, just a body losing balance, breaking contact with steel and vanishing into water that closes instantly, swallowing sound, status and ambition alike. By morning, the ocean looks calm. On board the Lady Ghislaine, unease spreads slowly. Crew members knock on doors, cabins are searched, the deck remains empty. Hours later, his body is found drifting in open water, naked, face down, turning gently with the swell. A small graze marks his shoulder. There are no answers written on the skin, only absence. The news hits London like a shockwave. Telephones explode into life. Bankers who once flattered now demand. Loans are called in without warning. Credit lines vanish. Accounts freeze mid-transaction. In Mirror Group offices, the presses continue to run, but the sound feels wrong now. Mechanical, hollow, like a heartbeat continuing after the mind has gone. Then, the truth begins to surface. Money is missing. Not lost, not misplaced. Taken. Pension funds quietly built over decades by printers, journalists, clerks and office staff have been drained to prop up failing deals and inflate collapsing share prices. Hundreds of millions of pounds are gone. The empire has been balanced on stolen time. Employees read the headlines in disbelief. Retirement plans evaporate overnight. Futures shrink. Anger replaces shock. For many, the loss is not abstract. It is measured in years of work rendered meaningless, in security that no longer exists. Maxwell, the man who demanded absolute loyalty, has stolen from those who trusted him most. In Jerusalem, the funeral is immaculate. Presidents attend, prime ministers speak, heads of intelligence gather in solemn rows, eulogies describe courage, brilliance, service. The ceremony is controlled, dignified, respectful. Little is said of the devastation left behind in Britain. The contrast is stark. Honour on one shore, ruin on another. Investigations deepen. Files thicken. Auditors trace transactions looping through companies and accounts designed to obscure reality. His sons attempt briefly to hold the businesses together, but the collapse has its own momentum now. Courts will later acquit them of criminal conspiracy, but acquittal cannot restore vanished pensions or broken trust. Robert Maxwell is finally examined without permission. Refugee, war hero, publisher, bully, visionary, thief. He escaped annihilation by learning how to run, how to seize control before it could be taken from him. That instinct carried him from a forgotten village to the heights of global power. It also ensured that he never learned how to stop. The Atlantic keeps its secrets. The silence that follows is absolute.